Hi guys, welcome to the NancoVerse podcast. Today we have someone with us on the episode with us. Her name is Smita Singhal. Hi Smita, how are you?
Hi Naman, how are you?
Yes, this might not be the most best introductions because I'm not very good at it, but I'm just happy that you gave us the time and came on the podcast to speak to us. Smita Singhal is the director and co-founder? Founder of Absolute Water. Yes, of Absolute Water, and these guys are doing some really innovative stuff. Like you're literally turning sewage water into potable water.
Yes, correct.
That is something that I think is the need of the hour for India on many levels. I was reading up on how we have some 76 million gallons, gazillions, billions of sewage water.
Yeah.
And how much is that water, and how do you see this problem actually getting fixed? Like, is it a problem from the start? Because sometimes people say grey water can be used in gardens, water can be used for all of those things. But potable water is an issue. Like we keep hearing about this, that there's only 0.38% of fresh water. Don't get me right on the stats.
Yeah.
But the potable water is an issue, and we generate a lot of water, which is
yes. So you're correct on most points, but I'll tell you the top points for what's going on in the country, and not just in the country, it's the rest of the world as well, specifically Southeast Asia.
Yeah.
Is that we currently in India alone, we have about 38 billion liters of sewage that are going untreated.
38 billion.
So yeah, that's 38 billion.
Damn.
With a B.
That's a lot more than the people we have.
That's a lot more than the people we have. So you can imagine the amount of sewage that we're generating.
Yes. This is sewage water.
This is sewage. So this is sewage, grey water, black water,
everything
whatever
combined.
Color you want to call it.
38 billion.
38 billion of it is not
number.
being treated. And more importantly, groundwater in literally 21 bustling cities is below zero. So we can well imagine what's happening in the rest of the country.
Yeah. So we're just squeezing out all the water.
We're squeezing out everything. We have no groundwater. We have no water that's fit for use. And in Delhi alone, there are about 36 sewage treatment plants, out of which only 18 are working.
Wow.
And the 18 that are working are also not on full capacity. So that's current statistics of what we're dealing with, and this is in Delhi.
Right.
So you can well imagine what's happening in Bombay, in Bangalore, in Calcutta, all the other main cities where you have the maximum population living there, urban population.
Absolutely.
And in terms of the rural population, they may have groundwater to a certain extent, but it is heavily contaminated.
Right.
It would be contaminated either with fluoride or hard metals. You name it, it's there. And plus, to top it all, they don't have any formal sewage treatment. It's all just going in. It's getting collected in some ponds, or they're just getting collected. Period. Or there are these drains that have been self-made purely by gravity through where it's going and getting out into the rivers.
I was just in Amritsar over the weekend, and there was a canal there in one of the farm areas, and I saw the water over there, and it just looked a little compromised.
Oh, compromise is beyond compromise.
I wouldn't dunk my face in it at all.
No. You should be dunking your face into the Ganga either, by the way.
Oh, damn, no.
Or Yamuna, as we all know.
Right.
So you should be dunking your face anywhere in any river. Maybe in the northeast, but where it's far more cleaner.
To go to the
insides
so
you have
of
to travel a long distance just to get good water. Right? So this is how Absolute Water came about.
Right.
It's about, so there are conventional systems out there that have been, so technologies that have been there for 45 years.
Right.
But the point is that it is with the use of chemicals.
Right.
And more importantly, once they even treat it, fair enough, you treat it, you're recycling, but you're not really recycling. You're just treating it and you're chucking it back into a drain.
Okay.
Which is with heavy chemicals.
Right.
So what we wanted to do is this innovation where, in comparison to what's out there, we wanted to make it nature-based. So it is basically purely been the inspiration that we have taken from these various treks that you go up, not in the hills, where you would not think twice about drinking water from a river or from a pond or from a stream that's coming down a mountaintop.
Right.
Because it's pure.
You would think that it's the glacier melt off, so the water is pure and it's just coming off the ice.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So, but if you have to understand the process, it's not like ice melting and it's coming to you. It's coming through a series of rocks, trees, very natural media, as we call it, to give you that kind of water.
Yum.
Right?
I'm just salivating even thinking about that water.
Fresh, right?
Yes.
So that's the inspiration that we took,
Yes.
and we said, okay. And then there was this professor in Chile who basically had come up with this whole theory of how if you can use worms to compost waste, food waste, why is it that we cannot use worms to compost waste that comes out of sewage? It's the similar in terms of nature, it's very similar.
Yes.
It is organic after all, right? So
yes, I was actually going to get to this. I was doing some research on it, and vermiculture is something that is being
very
used
big,
for...
very big.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And,
so we kind of took that forward.
That's great. Like, I'm so happy to hear this, and I know that there would be some cultural challenges that gets faced because people are like, oh, it's worms, so like, I don't want to eat and have anything to do with worms.
No, it's not just worms. It's like, are you expecting us to drink water out of our toilets? It's as simple as that. Which, well, you know what? That's literally the only resource you've got right now.
Right.
But that's the thing. It's a lot of mindset hurdles that one does has come across, and I have. It's been what 6.5 years since I started this company, and more importantly, the first thing obviously was there was this mindset like, how are you expecting us to drink water that is coming out of my toilet that you're recycling, or my kitchen, or my wherever, like every part of the house.
Yeah, but you used it.
No, but that's the thing.
Exactly.
So the thing is that
it's double standard.
You call it whatever, but the point is that we are a very religiously and culturally led society in India.
Yeah.
And it's not just India; it is also the rest of the world. It is like you can't think like, oh, I've just done something in my toilet. Am I going to be drinking?
I totally understand what you're saying, even though I do have hope that I know you've been there in this for the past 6.5 years, so like you must have heard a lot of people talk about it, but I also feel like we do have malleability as a society.
Yes.
So I would hope that in some time people are like, hey, it's sewage water, or whatever, who cares,
because Singapore's doing it, California is doing it, South Africa is doing it.
Yeah.
So it's not some first time thing in those terms.
Right.
But yes, the point is that we're just doing it in a natural way.
Yes.
So the fact is that when they know, so it's a two-pronged problem. One is that of course you're making me drink something that I've just,
they should not get to know. That's what I feel. Like, people don't deserve to know the knowledge about these things. They should just get the water and just keep quiet.
Not knowing where the source is.
Yes,
right?
like don't think too much about what you have, because if you think too much, then you're coming in the own way of innovation.
Why do you need to know?
Yeah, why do you need to know? And why do you even need to tell your guests?
The chemicals.
Like, if my friend comes over to my place and I tell him, hey man, this is water for you.
He's not going to ask you.
They're not going to ask me where is this water coming from. What if it's coming from an RO machine, or if it's coming from... Which is, I was going to get to that. Like that little pipe out of the RO water purifier, the reject water. Is that something of an issue? Is that something that people should think about?
Absolutely, because it's one glass that you're drinking equal to 1.5 glasses of reject.
Yeah.
So you can well imagine one glass would have about 250 ml of water.
Yeah.
You're already rejecting almost 350 ml of water, of reject water, which is heavily chemicalized, and it's going back into your drains and into your groundwater.
So I'm filling my Bisleri 1 liter water, 1.5 is getting like rejected.
Absolutely. And that's a loss of insane.
That water is from the ground.
No, that's the water that's being treated.
Yes.
That is basically your supply water.
Right.
That, say for example, in Delhi, DJB is giving you. Through that gets treated, and that's what you're drinking.
Yeah.
Right? But then, like I said, education and awareness is a big thing.
Yeah.
There are a lot of places here where you really don't even need to have an RO. You can just have a normal UV filter, which is ultraviolet light, so to speak.
Yep.
Because there is a certain measurement called TDS, which is total dissolved solids.
Yep.
This is basically the crap that's in your water, in simple language.
Yeah, solidified
stuff. If it's below a 200 mark, you really don't need an RO.
Yes.
And that's a lot of places here in Delhi, a lot of places in the country. Right. But everybody only thinks of RO because that's been the marketing genius or whatever you want to call it.
Forbes,
yeah.
like,
Eureka, Kent,
Eureka
RO, everybody.
Right.
And you need an RO, but you actually don't. And the problem is, when you're drinking RO water, you're actually harming your body, because it's completely dismissing all, and it's a deprivity of vitamins and minerals from your own body that you naturally have, and that water is supposed to naturally give you.
Right.
So that's the other part of this innovation, that water is kept in its natural form as it is, filled with vitamins and minerals as it naturally is, without me having to add it, which now a lot of ROs do. Demineralization, copper, name it. What you're taking out is what you're trying to put back in. So what a waste. And these bloody machines cost nothing less than 30,000 rupees. It's not any normal person can afford this, right? So they
Which
don't
machines
know.
do you mention here? When you
All the brands you just mentioned.
RO, water purifier. Now you
All
can
of
even
them.
rent. Like I personally have a rented
Of course.
machine.
So whether you rent or you buy, it
Yes.
doesn't make a difference. But
Right.
if you can keep water in its natural form naturally,
Yes.
why you would probably want that, right?
Absolutely.
Why would you want it to be?
It makes me think about the same with milk in some sense.
Yeah,
Even
they're
milk is
homogenized.
pasteurized and homogenized. It's not really the milk that comes out of a cow. Like,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
that's something
So
that you
that's
want.
organic farms for you.
Yes.
So it's called organic, but
Yeah.
it is something that has been going on for years and years and years. If you remember your grandmother, your
Yeah.
great grandmother,
Yeah.
that's exactly what you were drinking when you used to go to their homes and stuff like that.
So when you say the water that comes out of the river and it hits the rocks and it has like the sedimentation and it
it's
gets
natural filtration.
absolute, it's natural filtration. And
That's what we use.
Yes, and that's what comes out of a absolute water treatment.
Absolutely, yes.
That's great. So like, what's the process like? So you take the sewage water. There is domestic use and there is commercial use as well.
Yes, absolutely.
So industries can benefit from
Yes,
something like
yes.
this. Do you think solutions that you provide can be scaled to a point where the Yamuna can be clean?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And we have given them a plan through NMCG. We are already, my company and my technology has already been impaneled by the Ministry of Drinking Water and Sanitation.
Oh, that's great.
And we're a part of Amrut, which is the new big Atal innovation thing, which everybody knows about.
Yes.
So we're
I
one
hope
of the
they do.
75.
Because I don't. Dummy. Come on.
No.
I'm root.
These are all very industrial, very
I'm
government
rooting for myself.
related.
So, sorry guys, sorry for self-deprecating. But yes, there's an innovation challenge that's been launched by the government.
Yes, so we're out of the 500 or 600 companies, 75 were chosen, and we're one of them.
Oh, that's great.
And
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yes.
And we're piloting in Chandigarh for them, and then they replicate it from there on once it's successful.
Right.
So we're undergoing that currently. But other than that, I already have 25 plants installed in the country across 7 states.
Yep.
And we are treating capacity anything as low as 5,000 liters going all the way to 2 million liters a day.
Yeah.
And we're the only green technology that does big capacities, right? So when you're talking about the Yamuna, if we put it in various spots on there where you're doing 2 million liters or 5 million liters in a day, it very easily can be done.
Yeah.
It's not a problem. And more importantly, so it's very simple, which is why it's so simple.
Right.
Is really the sewage gets pumped via sprinkler systems on top of what we call a vermifilter bed. So it's basically crates that are filled with the worms, with wood chips, gravel and stones and sand.
Nice.
That's it. So that's my first level of filtration. Again, completely organic, completely natural.
Do you have any pictures of this? I would love to like post this.
Absolutely,
on the video.
yeah. I can
that
share
sounds
them with
lovely.
you.
Like
We
this,
have
like
a whole
a
video as well.
It's amazing because even our digestive systems are filled with worms,
Yes.
and without them we are dead.
Yes, absolutely correct.
Yes, and
Yes.
like without the worms, we're just like not
It
able
has.
to process.
It's not just worms. It's also natural enzymes, right? So we put in natural enzymes also that help in degrading the pathogens and the bacteria that come from sewage. The worms, their entire, so it's a certain kind of earthworms that we use, and these guys, their entire sustenance is the bacteria that and the pathogens that come out of sewage. They thrive on that. So that's their.
They are friends in some way.
They're very far bigger
Cute
than
little
friends.
worms, you know. They're like, thank you so much, worms, for like treating all our like waste that we create, and we need all of these things. We need sugar, we need steel, we need all different kinds of CNG, we need like petroleum. So many big industries are out there in the outskirts of all cities, and so much waste is being created.
Correct.
Our own homes, I think I was while researching, I realized that some 3,000 liters of water is sewage water is created by a domestic household.
Yes.
And that's so like 6 people.
There is so the calculation as per WHO is basically every human being needs about 55 liters of water a day, and they produce about, I think, 8 to 10 liters of sewage a day. So per person. And
so that's
this is
about
not
800 liters.
So basically the point is that so when we develop a plant or when we're developing our design for the plant, the first question we ask is how many people need to be benefited, or how many people's sewage, like what is the population of the sewage that's coming in. So it's a very easy calculation to do, and we know exactly how much treated water is needed for their consumption for the day, whether it is industry or whether it is a person or it is domestic or institutional for that matter, because we have it in several colleges as well.
In
How
colleges?
So there is the Delhi DTU has one, which is a 1 million litre day plant.
Good on you, DTU. Yes.
Then there's NSUT, which is Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, which is right here as well in Dwarka. They are actually one of the first institutional colleges, a technical college that is treating 550,000 litres of sewage to potable water. So they've already future-proofed themselves.
Wow.
And and then there are several other companies. There are industries. There is the sugar industry, leather industry, dyeing units. So everywhere, wherever the sewage or effluent is about 60-70% organic, we can treat that. We can't do hardcore pharmaceutical, chemical, so all those, because those are like hardcore stuff.
Yes.
I mean, it's not that we can't do it, but there is a massive pre-treatment that
just
needs
the amount
to be
of
done.
Contamination that's there inherently present in those effluents is a lot.
Like it's like one way for that and my worms will die.
Oh damn, no, the word
everything will disintegrate. And more importantly, we use a natural form of disinfection, which you would normally people use chlorine. We use something called ozonation, which is nothing but O3 gas that is basically pumped into after the first level of treatment, after the vermifilter bed. And ozonation is nothing but your ozone gas that protects the planet. Same thing.
O3.
So it's O3. So it's natural and it disinfects and it gives you water quality that you can use up to bathing quality. You can bathe in it. And then we use a UV membrane to give you drinking water. Simple.
So first the water goes through the vermifilter bed,
then ozonation, and then the UF. Now, this is where we come in terms of being affordable. Now, if my client comes up to me and says, okay, listen dude, we want it for horticulture, we want it for agriculture, or we just want it for not using it for any human purposes. I will not give you ozonation and the UF because you don't need it. Right.
The TDS will still be fine.
Everything all your parameters are met for the use that you want.
For the use,
they'll say, okay, no, we want to use it for our toilets and we want to use it for washing, for jhadu pocha, or for, whatever maintenance kind of thing. Or
throw it on the roses.
Throw it, whatever. For gardening, everything, we give you ozonation. They'll be like, no, okay, we want it further because we want to use it for washing vegetables or cooking or whatever. Then I'll give you close to the mouth. We give you UV. So that's how it works.
Absolutely.
So the first question we ask is, what do you want to do with the treated water? And then we back design from there.
You're also able to give them a realistic assessment of how much water are they actually creating.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because they themselves might not know.
They may not. You're absolutely right. So especially residential don't know.
Residential.
So so we're like, okay, fine. You actually need this. You're probably over thinking this, or you're over calculating this. So we help them. So that's why we ask the first question is, what is it being used for? Then we backtrack. Then we back calculate. And that's how the whole thing works.
Like you can give them a reality check. Like, hey, like this is the amount of water that you're wasting. And if you have this house and you want to keep it sustainable.
It's the ROI. We give them an ROI as well immediately once we backtrack and back calculate and say, okay, if you're spending say 10,000 rupees a month to get sucker machines to remove your sewage, okay, the sucker machine itself, it costs you about say 20 grand or 10 grand. That whole 10 grand is gone because you don't need it. Because we're treating the sewage. And our technology does not create any sludge, which most other sewage treatment plants do, or other green technologies do. So it's almost like, think about chai. You're making chai ka patti. You use your chalni. Those tea leaves that get left on top, that's your sludge. We don't create that.
So what happens
it's clean. It's nothing. The worms are the guys who are eating it all up.
Damn, these worms. I really want to meet them. Give them a little pat on their heads, like make friends with them.
We feed them nice.
That eureka moment must have been there for you when you guys were actually testing this entire. As an entrepreneur, I would love to ask you
So it was very simple. We had a checklist. We knew that, okay, so these are the kind of technologies out there. This is what they're able to do. This is what they're not able to do. So our first initiative was, what are they not able to do that we can do? And then the rest comes along.
It's like good artists copy, great artists steal in some sense.
Well, no, there's no stealing. It's more like, what are they not providing?
Right.
So it's more like, okay, if it's a fantastic looking tree. I mean, it looks good. It's doing its purpose of making it look good. But what can we do to make it better?
Right.
And what can we do to make that artwork more affordable?
Yes.
I mean, that's the
point being. What I was wanting to say by that is that it's already happening in different countries. People are using these existing natural technologies to create water that can be reused in a sense. And we need this in this country because I feel we have such a big population.
Yes.
And we have so much need for water, which is also it brought me to a statistic while researching that about 500,000 children die under the age of 5 from diarrhea.
Yeah.
That's a big demographic loss.
And it's a far higher number than any other fatal diseases. That's the worst part.
Do you think
be it AIDS, be it malaria, be it anything that is not a waterborne disease?
Yes.
The percentage of kids dying out of waterborne diseases is far higher.
Yes.
So
and that's a loss.
380,000 kids die of waterborne diseases a year.
Damn.
And this is just Southeast Asia.
Yes. 300
almost 400,000.
The number is big,
under
basically.
5.
Right.
Under 5.
Yes.
That's worse.
And any non-humanist would be like, hey, that's great. The humans are dying. But I think this is a big loss.
Population is not growing. Yeah.
And these are the innovators of tomorrow are getting squenched before they even get a chance to live.
So that's the thing. This was a very personal reason as well for us to start this is because I have 2 children and I was pregnant with my second one when this whole thought process started, and it was scary because I was like, my kids are being exposed to this, and not just mine, it's so many other people, it's the whole world.
Right.
So one can't imagine if you're feeling this way, how would others be? And you're living in a supposedly affluent part of town.
Right.
What is the situation in other parts of this? And just this one city, forget about the rest of the world. It's a different demographic there.
Smita, I don't know if you've been to Uttam Nagar. There's this place in west of Delhi where I've been there a few times. We have a house close by there as well, and that place is completely destroyed. They have this whole nala outside it. I don't know if anyone's listening from Uttam Nagar, guys. I'm sorry for myself as well because it's part of the city. It's right here.
Yeah.
If you look at it from the top, from a satellite perspective, everything's so close by, and that entire nala is filled with black water, and it's just there.
Yeah.
And it's been there for the past 10 years. And there's garbage all around it. So it's this whole ecological park of diseases and
I don't get it.
And it's right here as well,
right
not just in Uttam Nagar. You can see South Delhi. You can see the south of India, north of India. Everywhere, I think there is a water management crisis. And I feel that's where entrepreneurs like you can come in and actually make a difference. And I wonder what sort of, now you have so many treatment plants that you've already worked on with individuals and enterprises. When you were starting off, did you feel any resistance from people? Were they hey, we can't do this? Did it take you some time to get your first sale in a sense?
So yeah, I mean, and the reason to do that was, and of course they were like, how can that be possible? How are you doing it without chemicals?
And one more follow up, are governments more, open to having a discussion with you, or are people wanting to look out for themselves? Governments.
For the initial, I will say this, that irrespective of whatever I may think and feel right now, but the point is that if I have to talk about traction, the business my company got traction because of government. Because of the thing of the Jal Shakti Ministry, which came up 7 years ago.
Okay.
And so all the funds were coming in.
Yes.
And they figured that we've had these sewage treatment plants forever, and they're obviously not operating.
Yeah.
And the sudden.
But why is that obvious? Why are they not operating? Have you visited these treatment plants? What are they doing there?
Nothing.
Are they just
It's because it's so expensive to operate.
Whoa.
Where are you going to get them? And you have to have the budget and the money.
And they're not using that.
These cost crores of rupees per month just to operate. That's another tick mark for us.
Whoa.
Because ours is nothing. It's literally nothing.
Right.
The only thing you need to do after 14 months is to replenish the organic media, which is the wood chips, once a year.
Yes.
That's it.
And the worms are alive.
The worms are alive.
How long do they stay for, these worms?
They reproduce within themselves. And plus they have a life cycle of about 90 to 180 days. So they're constantly reproducing. So there's enough. So much so that we sometimes take the one lot to the next plant also. बहुत ज़्यादा कभी-कभी हो जाता है.
Right.
But that's the thing, right? So because it's so expensive, and somewhere at some point, sewage treatment was not a priority. Till you started getting, the WHO involved, UN was involved, the world over was talking about it. So suddenly India's like, oh crap, ours is nothing. We have
Pun
we
intended.
have done
Oh, crap.
nothing.
Yeah.
We have done nothing
Yeah.
for this.
Yeah.
And literally that's when this ministry started, the funds started coming in, and they were very, very keen and open to nature-based systems. Because they felt like, okay, that wasn't working.
Yeah.
There are certain, what should I say, like around the world, wherever they were using it, it was a big success.
Yeah.
So they started looking, and there are so many solutions out there. I'm not the only one. Mine is innovative. We have a patent for it, and everything. But there are various other systems for even various other kinds of pollution.
Yes.
Not just water pollution, not just sewage.
I was just seeing like in the Green Park market that they had some water purification from like they make water from air or something like that.
Yeah, it's the condenser.
And I always wonder like the water that comes out of the air conditioners, can I drink that?
No.
No, right? Yeah,
No.
I would die quite soon.
Yeah.
I remember like while
It has
researching
a
for
life.
your podcast, like it was to talk to you, you were talking about how the water that comes out of the ROs. I remember putting it in my house plants and they died.
That's my other thing. Everybody thinks it's usable. Some would be like the ones, and I
But they
appreciate the effort of considering to kind of reuse that water.
Yeah.
But literally, other than washing your car, it has no other, and that too for your car means you will have to. It's like about 3 bucket loads or 4 bucket loads of water,
Yes.
which would take you about 40 days just to fill.
Yeah.
Right, depending on how much you use it.
Right.
But never ever put it in anything that lives.
Right.
So be it your plants,
Yes.
be it your dog's water,
Absolutely.
be it yourself, putting it in the shower or using it in the toilet. Maybe put it in the toilet for all I know.
And don't pose with your car.
And don't pose with it.
Yes, and don't touch the service. But yeah, this seems like radioactive water. Honestly.
Yeah, it is,
It
because
looks very
it's,
benign.
it's full of chemicals. It's full of
Yikes.
chemicals. So it's nothing healthy.
Yeah.
And you're chucking that back. So you can imagine. So
Yeah.
think about this, right? You filled your water glass of, you've filled up your bottle.
Yeah.
1.5 liters has gone into the drain. That has gone into the bigger drain, and that's getting chucked into the river. Then it's also getting into groundwater and it's coming back into your home. This is the full circular thing that nobody thinks about.
Damn.
But people do.
There's
But
so many of these issues that we've created for ourselves. I think about cyclists.
yes,
These are the people who are on the roads actually solving an issue because they're not, there's no effluents in their transport.
yeah.
But the spiral of problems for them is that because there's so many horns, there's so much dust.
there's air pollution.
There's
There's,
air
no
pollution.
way. There's no dedicated paths for them, and we
Absolutely.
are not exactly a super. It's not super healthy to be out right now.
Yes, my dad is a big cyclist. Like he
Yeah.
loves cycling.
Yeah.
He's out on the road all the
Yeah.
time. He recently even had to be checked into the hospital because he got hit by a car. I'm so glad he's fine though.
Yeah,
But
thank
it's
God.
like it's a big thing that anytime we are looking for a solution, the problem is like the problem that's creating more problems.
See, the thing is, the solution to have is very easy to do, but to actually execute it with a practical mode to keep it sustainable is where we haven't reached yet.
Yeah.
Or rather, we're not thinking about. Okay. So when people talk about the Swachh Bharat mission, I'm going to make the biggest example here. Okay. We are going to make what the government said, we're going to make bazillion toilets, right? Sure, they may have even achieved that mark, which I know for a fact they haven't. But the point is that even if they've achieved 40% of it, I'll go as low as 40%.
Yes.
You've made the toilet. What have you done to treat that sewage?
Yeah.
Is that enough? No, it's not.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
you
the
may
next
be
level.
stopping open defecation. You're telling them, okay, don't go to the fields and do that because there are hajar other issues in that. There is psychological, mental, emotional, social, every bloody thing is there. Totally get it, and I vouch for it. But if you're making a toilet in your house, right, you're flushing it. Where is it going?
Yeah.
Is it not going back into the ground?
Yes.
Is it not getting leached into the ground?
Yeah.
So that's my point. You need to consider the entire process rather than just saying, fine, no open defecation, please make a house, we're giving you a loan, or we're going to make those in your home. Yes, we've solved one problem.
Yeah.
But what about the 3 that are coming with it?
Right. Yes.
And
I think
cleaning
with
it,
with
more
the whole
importantly.
Swachh Bharat mission and the toilets being made, I think that's the first stage, and at least that's how I see it. It's like the first stage, and the next stage can be where entrepreneurs like you come in, and where all the sewage water is being
Exactly.
created.
So the point is that if you're considering a budget to make, say, a brick and mortar toilet, just make a small sewage system and all these houses are very packed in. So it's not really a problem to divert that sewage. It's literally a piping job. It's a piping game at the end of the day and nothing more. So even if I have, say, 10 houses and there's pipes coming out of there merging into, say, my plant, for example, if it's there, I'm treating the sewage. And that same pipe, there's another pipeline that is taking out the treated water, fixing into another 10 small little pipes. They're nothing big, and it doesn't need to be very far from the area where these houses are, like maybe a few feet away. Because my treatment plant has no odor. You can walk through my treatment plant. I mean, that's how good it is.
Damn, I would love to visit one
Please
of those.
do,
Like,
please
yes,
do.
absolutely. We'll
Come
do a
to
walk
DTU,
around. Like,
yeah. I mean, it's like you could be
and
walking
when you
in a
say
garden.
that it doesn't have any odor, that actually surprises.
Exactly,
At the same
which is
time,
why it makes it so easy to set it up in a house, and we have different models of it also to kind of deal with space constraints. So like I was saying, those treated water comes back into the toilets, they can use it. They can use it for flushing, for cleaning their homes, for their gaushalas, wherever, whatever.
Right.
Like there are so many more treated water uses for this. So why would you not make that a complete system?
Right.
It may cost you maybe 10 rupees more to make it, so big deal, right? So it's about you have to consider circular solutions rather than just trying to say, okay, I've ticked one mark and I've dealt with one problem.
So from 38 billion liters of sewage water, there is such a big problem that you have in head, and a big opportunity as well in that sense.
Yes, it is.
And what's the next step for Absolute Water?
So we are now okay. So we came up with two designs. One was a civil based, which was a civil based design. If you have an area, I will set it up for you there. So for example, industry or institutional, where you do have that space. Right. But again,
when you say civil, it's like,
so it's built. It's brick and mortar.
Okay.
It's built, right? Then we have a modular design, which, for example, if there is an office space or a school or even a residential, builder flats that you have, we can set up a plant there as well, which is a small fabricated vertical design with all the designers in that enclosed little box, and you can treat your sewage through that, right? Similar, exact same technology. But then we felt that was not enough. Okay, I don't think I was creating. I mean, yes, we created impact. Yes, we have our numbers, our impact numbers. But I felt, we could do a little more. And now we have come up with the same thing, which is a total. It's completely mobile. It's on wheels.
Oh.
So this is basically, and we're going to be refurbishing old shipping containers.
Old shipping containers.
And we're going to set the entire design in there.
Wow.
And that is on wheels, and it basically is a plug and play.
Right.
So it'll be ready to use as soon as you get it.
Right.
And I just have to put in my pipe either into, say, a pond or a drain or a sump or a soak pit or whatever that unit of water is.
How did you think of this? Like, do you meditate? Like, what's your team like? Like, do you guys sit and discuss?
No, you read about a lot of things that are happening, and then you kind of take inspiration from it as well. And you want to see, okay, how else can we make this more accessible?
It's something that, a child would think that, hey, like, there are all these big boxes and we can just, like, put our systems in this and, like, try and save the world.
It's also a lot of hours of playing Lego with my kids.
Oh,
that helped. So, so basically, so it's plug and play and gives you treated water in 45 minutes flat.
Yeah.
So it's great for, say, the construction industry. It's great for disaster management. It is great for, especially for municipal departments, for hydration of green parks, where they currently, so everybody right now that I'm talking about, other than disaster management, are sucking up your groundwater and in crazy literage, right? If you've seen any house that is built next to you, you will always see the level of water coming into your home always a little lesser because these guys are sucking it up. Okay, for construction.
I've had fights with my neighbors for leaving their tanks open.
Exactly.
Like the water is spurting out of the tanks and they don't care.
Again, that's exactly where this shit started
I've
from.
actually had fights with my neighbors and they're grown ups. And I've had fights with them. I had to move
and that indicator, which can automatically switch off this thing, does not cost more than 800 rupees.
But Smita, it doesn't give a good look, right? Like inside the house, it's like pani ki tanki bhar gayi.
Exactly.
Now your house is a railway station.
You don't need any of that. It'll automatically switch off. I mean,
it just turns off.
Yeah.
Oh,
these are
my
these
old
are
house
water
has
sensors.
that system where it says pani ki tanki bhar gayi hai. Kripya motor band
kare. But so घर में someone has to be in the house also to listen to it.
That's true. Yeah,
that's the thing.
Yes.
And that really doesn't help. I mean, there's, I don't know. I honestly don't get that.
I mean, that's digressing. But like, I'm so happy that
sorry. Where I was coming from was from the mobile.
We'll wrap this up because of
time. So it's just to create more impact, to go to places where normal STPs cannot be set up, and to avert disaster management. So be it floods, be it, earthquakes. stuff like that.
Smita, so happy that the government is giving me you good responses,
Yes,
even if the individuals are not.
Yes.
And you're coming up with more solutions and more innovative solutions. And there's a big problem ahead of you, big solution and big opportunity. When there are problems, there's opportunities. No big words from me. I think you're doing the big work. So thank you so much for the work you're doing. Sure. I would love to speak to you again.
Yes,
and catch up and maybe even speak to some of your team members. Like what are they doing and how are these guys doing all this technical stuff?
Yeah, everybody's an innovator in my team.
Great.
So it's all great.
Lovely. And we would love to visit some of your plants.
Please do.
And guys, you can please find Absolute Water on Instagram, Facebook, all of these places. Where all LinkedIn. Yes, I think that's where we connected as well.
Absolutely.
I reached out to you on LinkedIn. Thank you for taking out the time to speak to me.
Sure, absolutely.
Really thankful.
Thank you.
And yes, and more power to Absolute Water.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for the work. Guys, signing out. Peace out. Love. Jai Hind. Bye. Great.